So 2016 wasn't great. 0 out of 10. Would not 2016 again. Making changes can be an absolute ball ache and feel really overwhelming. So here are some tiny changes you can make without even really noticing. The first one is fair trade coffee. I've seen this around so much more than I used to. About 15 years ago, my gran used to volunteer for Tradecraft. She'd always be like, buy fair trade, and I'd be like, nah, it's nowhere. Can't find it. Now it's everywhere. I'm noticing it more and more, and I think it's really important as consumers to encourage those companies who have made a little bit of a leap to take that chance and make it available for us to actually pick it. Starbucks have fair trade options in their coffee shops, so if you do buy one, take a picture of it, tweet it, say, thanks Starbucks, I bought the fair trade one. Thanks, bros. Because while Starbucks is an appalling company, it's not going away anytime soon. My attitude is if you can't beat them, join them, and then do a little wiggle near them, like, let's change a little bit. Let's change a little bit. As with boyfriends, as with companies, make them think it was their idea and then pat them on the head and congratulate for them for it. There's also Grumpy Mule, which is opened in my workplace and is open in a lot of places. So if you see that around, get it, get it, get it. There's also lots of options in your supermarket. So this is the instant coffee that I buy. It is Cafe Direct and it's my favourite one. It's really, really tasty. I'll leave the details of it below. And if you like your ground coffee, because you use a cafetiere, darling, then there's also lots of options. Sainsbury's are particularly good on that. They have fair trade tea available as well. And it's super cheap. It's the lowest price. The second one is... the second one is Moon Cup. If you don't have a vagina, or you do have a vagina and you don't have periods, that's cool. But for those of us who do, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, but I knew the moment would come when I'd have to raise an object to the camera that I've had inside my vagina. Today is the day. I knew it was coming. This is my Moon Cup. It feels like doing the boyfriend tag when you've been dating for 2 years and then you're like, oh, it feels so weird to be exposed. I've been using Moon Cups for 2 years and I can honestly say I have PCOS. Polycystic ovary syndrome. You can learn more about that in the links below, but I get particularly bad period pain and this cut it in half. For those of you who don't know, these are reusable menstrual cups. They're completely sanitary. They're a lot cleaner to use than tampons. Even though you reuse them, you're a lot less likely to get infections because they sit a lot lower in your vag. They're less intrusive. If you use them properly, you're way less likely to get diseases from them. You also won't go into anaphylactic shock or all the other horrible things that tampons expose you to. Links below, but like, Jesus Christ, why are we allowed to use tampons? Why were they a thing? Oh wait, because the patriarchy is trying to poison us. See, contraceptive pills. Oh. There are lots of people that have made much better content on this, so I'm going to leave all of those below. Something I didn't really see in any of my research though, just to add to the conversation, is a review of all of the different kinds. So very, very briefly, I've tried all 3 kinds just to be thorough. Disclaimer, these are stained because that is the glitz and glamour of being female. It happens to everybody, it will happen to your Moon Cups, it doesn't mean they're dirty, it's just a symptom of having a reusable product. By the way, you clean them by boiling them, so no horrible chemicals or anything else. Super simple. This is the original Moon Cup. It is the thickest. This is probably the hardest one to get in. This is my first one and I found it really hard to start with at the beginning, so I wouldn't recommend this actually if you are starting off with Moon Cups. They are really sturdy though, so if you like them and you plan to use them for a long time, this is probably the one I feel like is going to last me the longest. Apparently they last 20 years. This one is its rival brand Diva Cup. This is my favourite one. You can see they're slightly different shapes. This one, I haven't trimmed either of these by the way, but this one comes with a slightly longer cup, so I find it a lot easier to get out of me because you kind of pinch it, fold it and pull it out, and for that, because it sits lower, it is a lot easier to get out and not spill it. I'm not even going to tell you spill stories. It's actually really hard to do, I'm just a little bit of a twat. Yeah, this one is also made out of slightly more malleable plastic, so I find it a lot easier to get in there. And then the third one is a Ruby Cup, which is available from this really cool charity called No More Taboo. They actually sent this one to me. Thanks, guys. Hashtag non-spawn. They just sent it to me because they're nice. This one is the smallest one, so if you're starting or you have a really light flow, this is the best one. I always use this during the end of my period because you just don't need one as big, and it's probably the easiest one to get out. It's got the longest stem as well, and it comes in lots of colours, which is really nice too, so the staining doesn't show up. So this is a starter one. I'd say Diva Cup is my favourite overall, and Moon Cup is if like you're a serious woman. Here's a fun test. I'm just gonna demonstrate. A lot of people are scared that these things leak. I can tell you, literally after you've used it once, it won't leak. Like it's just science, just gravity. So I'm going to demonstrate with This is to test if my housemate watches my videos. I'm using my housemate's Leicester City shot glasses to demonstrate. It's clean. It's all clean, I swear. So this is, imagine this is your hole. I'm so awkward and British. You hold it like that. And there you go. That's just the science of suction. It's not going anywhere. And then when you want to remove it, you just press here, pull in like that, and it's out. Lots of people say they're really hard to use, and I get that, but do you remember being 12 and trying to learn how to use a tampon? For some reason, because that's so normalised in our society, we'll willingly spend a year trying to make tampons work for us. So it just involves feeling like a 13-year-old for about 3 months, and then you get the hang of it. The next thing is buying books full price. Controversial. Amazon are killing the book industry, in summary. I work in books. I love the publishing industry. There used to be this thing called the Netbook Agreement, which meant that the government, for the interests of everybody, viewed books not as a luxury item, but as an essential part of our culture and our world, and sustaining the publishing industry and making sure that companies make a sustainable living out of books so that literature can keep being funded and going. And also any kind of idea can be spread, not just literature, but science, maths, the clever stuff. A book for $8.99 is the most affordable ratio of time you'll spend with a piece of entertainment to money you have given. You pay £10 to see a film now, you spend an hour and a half in the theatre. You can spend 13, 15, 30 hours with a book for the same price. I'll leave a link below to my favourite essay by George Orwell on this, called Books versus Cigarettes, and prioritising buying books and making sure that books are affordable for people. But there was a time in our history when books used to be super expensive and unaffordable, and now they're super affordable. I was talking to the head of a publishing house once, and he said that a book, from the moment it's printed to the moment it reaches the shop, will touch 20 pairs of hands, from all the people that are selling it through to all of the distributors. And that's not even including the author, the agent that helps edit, the editor themselves, and all the people that market and publicise the book. You can get your books cheaper on Amazon. Bear in mind that they don't pay their tax. And when I look at how much tax comes out of my paycheck every month, I get really angry at that. And they also will willingly make a loss on books just to beat independent shops like Foyles or bigger bookshops like Waterstones, never mind all the individual people that are trying to be booksellers and refine that as an art. So they will literally give you 70% off a book just so they can beat other companies and keep you on their site, so then they can sell you full price stereos and headphones and get you on Amazon Prime. It's not that publishers or bookshops are ripping you off by selling you a book for a tenner. It's that Amazon are tricking you into thinking that literature is even less valuable than the world has already tried to make it by taking away the Netbook Agreement. Once upon a time, books are really expensive, and this idea came in to play, partly thanks to Alan Lane and Penguin, that books should be affordable and accessible to everybody. So the industry started to make them cheaper and cheaper. The Netbook Agreement was to protect the industry from being outpriced, and it trusted the publisher to put a RRP on a book and know that that was the price that they needed to keep their companies running and to keep the industry flourishing. A result of not paying a reasonable, normal, I would say still quite affordable compared to, I don't know, makeup price for a book, is that publishers, big publishers, can then use the excuse to not commission new works that might be a gamble, or works from people who aren't white or people who aren't cisgender, because they say that they can't afford the gamble, that taking a chance on something that isn't canon or doesn't fit into a category might not keep the lights on. Now, why I don't think that's true, I do know that the publishing industry has been struggling for a long time and will definitely continue to struggle during Brexit. Anyway, lecture over. I feel strongly about this, okay? Take it or leave the advice. And also, if you can't afford books, use your library. Use your library. We also need those. The other one is I've started paying for my news. I'm not going to go into all the arguments about why you should, but we're getting to a really dangerous situation in this country where a lot of the biggest news corporations are right-wing. And one of the coolest newspapers that I love is The Guardian. I have just subscribed to pay £5 a month to The Guardian. They make all of their articles available for free because they believe that's the right thing to do. The Guardian is one of the last news outlets in this country that is owned by a trust that's whole explicit purpose is to make sure that The Guardian keeps things available for free, and sets the editors free of commercial pressures. It's not owned by Rupert Murdoch, it's not owned by anybody else, it's just owned by them. And I think that's going to be so important when making 2017 a little bit cooler than 2016. So if you want to join me, I'll leave the links below, but I am paying £5 a month to The Guardian to thank them for them making so much of my journalism free. And the last one, this one's just for you. So I'm a millennial and I am probably forever going to rent. And I've realised in a lot of rented properties that I have had, and especially this one that I've just moved into, they're not providing me with like safety things. I moved in and this was the fire alarm hanging on the wall. They even painted over the very clear sign that says do not paint over. It's rubbish, it doesn't work. If you are in a rented property, demand that your landlord provides you with one. But more important than being right is being safe. So I bought my own one off the internet. It is a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. Bear in mind that lots of places will provide you the smoke alarm, but doesn't mean it's going to protect you from carbon monoxide. I sound like a mum. Do I sound like a mum? And I've also ordered 2 fire extinguishers for my flat because we didn't have those either. I've realised that I'm an absolute twat with money. Things that I think are interesting get first priority. Things that are boring yet could be potentially life-saving, take the back burner. Take the back burner. There's no point in spending the whole of 2017 on self-improvement and then dying in an embarrassing Pop-Tart related fire. Is there? Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you have a really mischievous, crazy, yet safe New Year. And I'll see you in 2017. Bye. Frog snug out. Mwah.